Hey guys, Jim Chandler with Rock Your Best Vocals. And where have you been, Jim? Is what you're saying, probably to yourself. If you're one of my 4 million, what? 4,000. Okay, I thought it was 4 million. I looked at the name, 4 million, 4K. So if you're one of my 4,000 subscribers, thank you so much for staying with me during my, my hiatus from YouTube. If you want to get more confidence in your voice and in your life, then there's a process to use to go through this. I've got a free training. Click down below. Where have I been? So I owe it to you to have a little bit of, not an apology. I'm not going to apologize for taking a break off because I'll tell you why in a second. But I just feel like I should explain because I was doing daily videos. I was doing like my daily tips and I was doing a song a day on my Instagram, like writing a song a day. So I ran a webinar on the 8th and then on the 9th, I was like just dead to the world. I got COVID. Okay, so that's the long and short of it. To make a long story boring, I got COVID. So I was tremendously ill with that. Like I got it pretty bad, which is strange because like I have a super amazing immune system. Like the last time I was at a doctor was 15 years ago. So I just don't need to go to the doctor and I just never get sick. So that's why I don't go to the doctor. The other thing is I do a lot of stuff in terms of healing myself. Okay. I'm really into metaphysical stuff and quantum physics and things like that. And there's a few people that are proponents of this thing called epigenetics. Anyway, so I don't know how I got sick, but I got COVID. I'll tell you about epigenetics. Epigenetics, if you haven't heard of this, if you look up Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's the other guys now? Greg Braden and the other one will come to me in a second. So Dr. Bruce Lipton is probably the forefront of epigenetics, but Greg Braden also talks about this, and Dr. Joe Dispenza. So they're all amazing, all those guys, and they all talk about epigenetics and quantum physics and how you can heal yourself. But one of the things that Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about is your 50 trillion cells in your body, and they each have their own mind. So when I got COVID, I was like just down for the count, man. I mean, I got the full-blown deal. I was sitting there having dinner. I think it must have been the 9th or the 10th, and I was eating, and I was like, I can't really smell this or really taste this. And then I picked up something called albus oil, which is like eucalyptus oil, and if you're in the States, you probably know Vicks Vapor Rub. Well, put that under your nose, and you can smell it if you can smell. And I put this albus oil, which is like heavy-duty eucalyptus, like right under my nose. And I was like, I can't smell that. So it's like, it's game over. I've COVID, that's it, down. Tested, yes, PCR positive. And I've been pretty damn sick ever since then. Yeah, it's just all of a sudden, it's just whatever like version of it. It's not this latest version, which seems to be less, less potent, but like I got the whammy version, man, where I was like, I had 5% breathing capacity, just about 5 or 10. Going up a flight of stairs, I was winded. Now even though I am 50 years old, I am super healthy. Like I would, up until when I got COVID, I was jogging every day. Like I was jogging with my dog, but the dog stops every kind of, she stops quite often, let's just say. Stops too often to get a really good run, but like to get a power run. But I work out 3 times a week. And so it knocked me down for the count, right? And there's a few things that helped me to get back. And that's why I want to share these with you. Number 1 being mindset. Okay, so focusing on that epigenetics. And I would sit there kind of trying to take breath in. And I was like coughing nonstop and coughing up blood. Okay, so that's when I got worried because I was coughing up blood. And my friend said, look, you might have pneumonia. Maybe you should see a doctor. And I was like, no, man, I don't need to see a doctor. I haven't seen a doctor in like 20 years or something like that. I don't need to see a doctor. But consistently coughing up blood for like a week kind of puts you on edge a little bit, right? And I was kind of getting panicked. I was like, not panicky, but like I was going, whoa, man, maybe this is pretty bad, like maybe. And I was like, do I have to go to the hospital? Like I had 5% breathing capacity. Like I was exhausted like 24/7. I couldn't do anything. A couple of days I couldn't even take the dog for a walk. I couldn't even face like getting up and going outside. I was like that bad. But mindset, I was just focusing on, okay, I'm healthy. 50 trillion cells in my body. They each have a brain and they know what to do. They know how to make me healthy. So keep focusing on that. But the coughing up blood thing, and I was just like, I couldn't breathe like beyond like 5 or 10% of my lungs. It was just like excruciating. It was this weird feeling. So anyway, long story boring, I called the doctor and I was like, look, here's the deal. Coughing up blood consistently, blah, 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 have this all. And I said, look, I couldn't smell, so I know it's COVID. And he's like, you should get a test anyway. What color is the blood? He's like, is it bright red or is it dark? I was like, bright red. He goes, okay, that's okay, because that's just like you're rupturing blood cells. He's like, it's not bad, but it's not great. You know what I mean? Like anytime you're coughing up blood, it's not like, hooray for coughing up blood. So he put me on an antibiotic, which was about 7 or so days, 7 to 10 days, something like that. I started clearing up and it was all cool and I was like feeling better, and I was doing this kind of protocol of vitamin D3. I was taking 50,000 IUs 3 times a day. So I was taking 150,000 IUs, which is like, it sounds like a tremendous amount, but if you look up, there's this guy, Dr. Berg, and he's like, D3, you need that for your immune system, and there's no kind of like top end. You just have to make sure you take K2 with it so it absorbs into your bones properly. So, and that's apparently what you're supposed to do with D3. But D3, there's a huge correlation with low D3 and your lower immunity. And there's a huge correlation with low levels of D3 and COVID. I don't know why they don't talk about this, but so I was like boosting that D3, boosting my vitamin C and zinc. Those are vital, right? If you want to boost your immune system and you want to prevent or get better from that if you're sick or whatever, those are 3 key things. And like I learned this from Dr. Berg and some other people. Like I work with a shaman as well, so into the metaphysical stuff, and I work with a shaman, and that's part of one of the protocols that he's given. And also with the epigenetics, the mind, okay? So that's the epigenetics is the ability to control your genes with your mind. Now, this is science. It's not just goofy, woo-woo, like makey-uppy stuff. It is science. Look at these guys. I urge you to check out Dr. Bruce Lipton, for one, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Greg Braden. And they all talk about this. And those guys are some of the guys that I follow that are really into a lot of the things that I'm into. Okay, so like I really do a lot of research in terms of manifestation and ancient wisdom and spiritual science and quantum physics. Okay, and there's a book I can recommend called The Physics of God. Okay, when I say God, it's not religious. It's just the physics of God. God is like another word for the all, or divine mind, or divine consciousness, whatever you want to call. It's like the mind of everything. So I'll leave that with you. The other thing, a big thing that that hit me, and things like learnings, I've got like a little list of things that I learned, right? So And I remembered, not learned, but I remembered how to cough. Okay, so I used to date this girl who was a speech and language therapist, right? And she used to have to teach kind of older people with pneumonia how to actually cough because they couldn't bring the stuff up from their lungs. And when I say older people, I'm talking like 70, not 50, but probably at the time I would have thought, yeah, if you're anywhere around 20 or even 30 or like 50, dude, that's really old. But when you get this old, you're like, I still feel like 18 or 20 or whatever. So, but the way to cough, to bring stuff up, is like a hut sound, like Now, I know I talked on before. Now, that won't hurt your voice, okay? I know I talked about this as singers and the way to cough, and I've seen other people do it, and they're like, ahem. That's not going to do anything. What you need to do, if you have that phlegm in your lungs, you got to get it up, right? You got to get it up. You got to get it up to get down. But when you have that phlegm in your lungs, you got to get that crap out, okay? That's what you're trying to cough for now. And it's like so you don't go, right? That's really engaging the vocal cords. And that's when I say coughing will kill your voice. That's what I'm talking about. But if you go, and even like at the end, now this is going to sound gross, warning, if you get grossed out, don't listen. But this next thing is you go, now, oh, shoot. Anyway, yeah, that's disgusting. But that's helped to bring that last bit up, okay? The other thing I used to do is when I was walking in the morning, okay, when there was no one around, right? You just do you do a farmer blow. You put one thing there and blow as hard as you can. Try not to blow your eardrums out because sometimes that happens, but do that both sides. It clears out your sinuses if you can actually manage to do that. And that was helping me clear out all this gunk that was all caked up in my system. So remembering how to cough, that was one of my big lessons. And I talked about the importance of your immune system and the positivity, right? Always keeping the mind positive on I am better, I am well. If you do these affirmations, okay, so I'm really big into positive affirmations and hypnosis and things like that. And your subconscious mind listens to what your conscious mind tells it. Okay, so your conscious mind is what you're kind of using. You clicked on this because your conscious mind said, oh, I want to click on that. And your subconscious mind is taking in most of this, okay? So your day runs 95% on your subconscious mind. That's why, if you're driving or something like that, you don't have to think about how do I shift and put the clutch in and all this stuff like that at the same time. And I go, what do I do? I put the clutch in? No, your subconscious mind takes over. And that's 95% of your day. If you're making say you're making a cup of coffee or something like that, you put a spoon in, you put the hot water in, you stir it. Your brain is you're not going, how much should I use, and reading and going, okay, is that a spoonful? No. What you're doing is your subconscious mind is just going, I know how to make a cup of coffee. I'll drive the ship. You just try to think about other stuff. You worry about whatever else you got to worry about because I'm going to just make this cup of coffee. So 95% of your day is driven by your subconscious mind. But if you tell your subconscious mind consciously that I am healthy, 50 trillion cells in my body have their own mind, and I'm talking to them right now, and I'm saying, look, you guys are healthy. And you're going to, so that helped tremendously. Okay. So keeping positive, I'm going to get through this. I'm not, that's the difference between cancer patients. Say the doctor says to two different people, he could say the same thing to two different people. You have 6 months to live. You have 6 months to live. What happens? This one over here, you say you have 6 months to live. This person says, okay, I better start planning my funeral and getting all that stuff together, get my affairs in order, talking to a few people, because that's it. I have 6 months. This person over here says, you know what? Screw that. 6 months, my ass. I'm staying around for a long time. So you could take that 6 months and shove it, right? So the difference is this person will perish probably within that 6 months, if not, around that time, because they put that expectation in their mind. That's why a lot of the stuff that I teach is about mindset. I study all this stuff, and I know that there's so much power in this, and there's so much power that you can apply to singing and being a vocalist. And I use this a lot in my teaching, and so a lot of this stuff is like esoteric, woo-woo kind of sounding out there, metaphysical, blah, blah, blah. But this is something that, like, consider the power that you have in your subconscious mind. I'll recommend another book, is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. That is an amazing book, and that will help you to understand how powerful your subconscious mind is. You can heal yourself if you just use your conscious mind to convince your subconscious mind to do that. And you could do that through self-hypnosis, through like seeing a hypnotist, blah, 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 all this stuff. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. Do some study up on that. And then, let's see. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Mindset is my special sauce, really, when it comes down to my coaching, okay? Like, I'm really big into that. And that is why, if you made it this far and this kind of interests you or appeals to you, I've got a free training. Click down below. That is coming up later this month, or, well, actually, you know what? It will be this month, and then so if you see this like after January, it's going to be over. But click on the link anyway, because what I'll do is I'll run it again in the future. But it's a free confidence training. Okay, so there is, if you want to get more confidence in your voice and in your life, then there's a process to use to go through this. Okay, so when it uses a lot of the stuff that I've talked about already, but what you'll find in that free training below is that it's a process, and I'm going to give you that process, and it's a roadmap, effectively, a confidence roadmap. So it's called the Vocal Confidence Roadmap, VCR. Clever. Also, if you like this video up to the point, please like and subscribe. I mean, if you've gotten value out of it, also, there's links down below where you can buy me a cup of coffee. Hey, that would be cool. Anyway, enough about that. We're all on this planet. We're all a lot of the things that I've studied and kind of practiced, learned, and things that I'm getting into as I raise my consciousness is we are all one, okay? There's a thing in quantum physics called entanglement, okay? And the fact is that if you have, let's go even like super science here, and you go, there's a big bang and everything was created out of the one thing. Well, quantum physics shows that if we're all created out of the one thing, then we're all the same. We're all part of the same, like, molecules of that original molecules or whatever that was, like, if this big bang thing happened, okay, so we're all part of that, which means that we're all entangled, okay? So which means there's no difference from you and me and anyone else. There is no difference. There is no division, no color, no religion, no anything like that. We're all the same. And so I want to do everything in my power to make sure to help to share this with the world, that we're all one, okay? So, and that's my idea of making that a priority in my life, to support the idea of oneness, okay? So what's good for you is good for me, is good for the other person, okay? So that is where I work from, is the goodness of all, okay? The goodness of every single person. I want the best for you. I want the best for everyone in the world. And that's why I'm sharing a lot of this information, because I think it will help a lot of people. So again, if it did, please hit like and subscribe and buy me a cup of coffee. That would be awesome, because I love coffee. And I'm going to do another video on that, because Nespresso, okay? So I have an espresso machine. And I have a weird feeling is that when I was like drinking a lot of Nespressos and stuff, it was like doing this to my voice, making my voice kind of real, kind of croaky and stuff like that. Because I was like clearing my voice with an espresso. Now I don't really think it's that. I think it was more just like I was not supporting my voice. So I started to sound a lot like Duncan Trussell. Yeah. Duncan Trussell. I don't know if you know Duncan Trussell, amazing comedian. Has been on Joe Rogan a few times, but his voice sounds a little bit like this when he starts talking about like DMT and things like that. And I started sounding like Duncan Trussell. So in a lot of my videos, I started sounding like this. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on with my voice? It was just raspy to the point where I was like, I can't fix this, man. What the heck is going on? So I was going, I'm blaming it on the espresso, man, which unrightfully so. I mean, I'm sorry, an espresso machine. I love you. But I do love coffee, so that was that rant's all over. And I'm not going to edit this even. I'm going to try to, my whole intention with, going forward is to try not to edit this stuff. So it may be long and boring and stuff like that, but maybe some of you guys will get some entertainment or some value out of the whole thing. So if not, go ahead and comment down below. I'm sure you will, saying this is too long and it sucked. So if that's you, I love you just the same as anybody else because I have unconditional love for the world. For everybody in the world. And that is that's the only way to work, I think, in the universe is because the universe is built on love. And before I get too high up on this other soapbox, I'm just going to say thank you very much for staying with me. 4,000 subscribers and growing. Thank you so much. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And look, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.